historic river city of Wanganui once again became motorcycle central for the annual Boxing Day Cemetery Circuit races. The weather played its part, and it wasn't long before the 1 mile circuit was lined with fans. The traditional helmetless parade lap started proceedings, and then it was down to business. Brian Bernard has, in the last couple of seasons, relied on overseas riders for his Yamaha team. This year was no different. Young hotshot Gareth Jones from Australia had his first look at the Wanganui circuit.
We don't have anything like this back home, so I really enjoyed the first ride out there and then.
It's short, fast and pretty exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, especially this turn 1 here. You know, the corner's so banked, you can run in there so hot and pull it up really quick and fire it back out again. And through the S's, through the cemetery section there, it's a fantastic circuit.
Two young Californians had joined the Bernard team this year, David and Matt Sadowski, regular competitors on the USA AMA circuit.
The cemetery circuit's a real fun track. I had some doubts about it, being a street circuit. Never been on a street circuit before, but turned out to be a lot of fun.
I guess your dad's told you all the stories?
Oh yeah, he's told me quite a few before we hit the road.
And you've been out there at practice. What did you think of the track?
Oh, it was great. I had a great time. It's maybe one of the funnest tracks I've been on.
2 years ago, Suzuki's Craig Sheriffs owned the Wanganui circuit on a 600. This year, he was back on a superbike. Do you know much about the Aussies and the Yanks that are here with Brian? Is it going to be a strong opposition?
Hard to know. One of the guys that's riding on Brian's superbike, he was Chris Seaton's teammate last year in Aussie. And I went over last year a couple of times and just watched, so I've seen him ride. He's pretty good. Now, I don't know anything about the American boys at all. I would imagine they've not seen anything like this before, so... But yeah, they're young and keen and hungry, so that's half the battle around here, I think.
Another young and keen rider was Jay Lawrence, making his Wanganui debut.
Some places are quite intimidating. Coming through the cemetery is all blind until you get to the end of the corner, and it's faster than I'd expected through there. So getting used to it slowly.
No stranger to Wanganui and no stranger to Kawasaki's, but this season on the big 1000cc machine, Derek McAdam. I guess the guy to beat Stroudy and Craig again, I suppose?
Yeah, it's always those guys to beat, isn't it? It's hard work.
What about the Americans and the Aussie? Do you know much about them?
Not really, no, but I mean, look at the time she does in the first practice session, they're still going pretty good, so I imagine they'll pick up the pace pretty quick.
Well, this is the first heat of the Robert Holden Memorial. It pits the fastest 30 riders by lap time over 10 laps, and it is Gareth Jones from Australia on the Bernard Racing Yamaha that goes into the front. Once again, I'm joined by my regular cohort here in the motorcycle commentary box, and that is Paul Pavletic. Pav, another young Aussie, and he's in the front in the early going. It's a bit like deja vu. We saw it last year with Seaton.
Well, there's just a factory over there that keeps pumping out these up-and-coming road races. They've got a new world champion in MotoGP, and he's only a young kid. It's just incredible. They just one after the other.
Well, there must be a factory in fielding as well, because Craig Sheriffs has got into the front as they work their way through the Robert Holden turn for the first time of 10. Jones back in second place. Derek McAdam's got a great start. That's him, bike number 19 on the AFC Motorcycles Kawasaki. But the man that didn't get a good start, and that is Andrew Stroud, back in about 5th and 6th at the moment.
Well, Andrew Stroud's riding a 750 Suzuki this year, and that's a pretty good choice, really. You know, it's a combination. The 600's got 110 horsepower, the 1000's got, around 190 horsepower, and the 750's 140. And he thinks that's the right bike for here. The 600's just a little bit hard. Got to keep it sitting really high up in the rev range. The 1000's a super handful because these things just want to smoke up the back tyre. And he thinks he's made the right choice today on the 750, so let's see what happens.
Well, I know, unbelievably, he told me that on the 1000cc machine last year, he was only getting into third gear once, and I would suggest to you that that'll either be on Taupo Key or down the DML Builders front straight.
Well, they do 225 kilometres an hour in third gear, so it would have only been for a short second that he was in third gear as well.
That's right, it's a bit unusual, Wanganui. It's a sort of elongated L-shaped circuit, and it's pretty near all right-hand turns, as we get a great look there at Gareth Jones.
Oh, sure, it's just bolting. Look at him go on the 1000.
Derek McAdam's a surprise for me. First year on the 1000cc machine, the ZX10 Kawasaki. He's in second place. It's him, bike number 19. Then it's Gareth Jones. And then it's one of the Americans. I think that's young Matt Sadowski in there. In fact, it's not. It's bike number 12, and that's Jason Holmes. So he's doing a fantastic job.
You can see the challenge, too, on those big grunters. They just want a wheel stand coming out of the corners. They've got a massive amount of torque. And you've got to put a whole lot more body language into riding them.
Up past the famous Heads Road Cemetery they come, and Gareth Jones just starting to work away there on Derek McAdam through the Robert Holden turn. Then they head up into Kawasaki. Another right-hand corner. Andrew Stroud's got up over in front of Holmes, so he's starting to make his way to the front. Look at Gareth Jones. He's trying every which way to get around McAdam, and he does it on the off-camber Vesra Bridge corner. Wow, sensational stuff. The only left-hander on the circuit here at the Cemetery Circuit, and Gareth Jones slips up into second place, and Stroudy does the same thing. So I just wonder there, Pav, if McAdam just got a little bit unnerved by that pass as they went up over the bridge.
Well, he'll fight back. He's a tough guy, McAdam. He won't give up. And look at this. There's the power of the 1000 Kawasaki, just to be outbraked by Stroudy. Nobody outbrakes Andrew Stroud. I've said that many times. He's a demon under brakes.
So they head up the Steve Taylor panel and paint straight, heading towards the Robert Holden turn once again. This is the battle for third, fourth and fifth, and it's the New Zealanders, Andrew Stroud, Derek McAdam, and right in behind him, it is Jason Holden from Wanganui on the Yamaha. What a great ride coming from bike number 12. Then it's the first of the Americans, and that's the Sadowski brothers, David and Matt, and Hayden Fitzgerald there on the Honda. This man, well, he's already got just about the length of the front straight ahead, and that's an amazing advantage here at Wanganui, Pav.
It is. He's really got his head down. I'll tell you one thing though, the lap times aren't that flash though. The lap record you recall is 49 flat, pretty close to 0:00:49. Right at the moment they're in the 50s, mid 50s, so they're 1.5 seconds off the lap record.
Well, it's a little bit colder than we saw last year. We had a little bit of rain earlier in the morning, but thankfully the weather's playing its part now. So maybe that's a factor in the lap times, Pav?
It could be. It's really windy. You know, if you look at the flags, they're buffeting away. The track should be nice and clean because it absolutely bucketed down in practice this morning. So, once this track dries out, it's going to be in good nick.
Good scrap going on there with David Sadowski and Hayden Fitzgerald as we go back to that battle. Just coming through the Kawasaki curves now, out of Robert Holden. There is Jason Holden. Now, the question you've got to ask yourself, where's Jason Holden come from? Wherever he's come from, it's worked because he's up there in the mix in this one. Gareth Jones from Australia on the Bernard Racing Pirelli Shod Yamaha. There is Andrew Stroud. There is McAdam. So not a lot in it at the moment.
I think this is an awesome ride from these young American boys. You know, they're only 18 and 20 years old. That's a fine effort. They haven't ridden on a street circuit before, and to be that far up the field is an incredible effort.
Well, that's right. I guess they've only got to go on the memories of their father. Their father, David Sr., has ridden here before, years and years ago, and he's also ridden with Bernard Racing team manager Brian Bernard, and that's where the connection comes from. That's why the young Californians are out here putting in some pre-season training for their AMA season up in the United States. I talked to them after the first practice, and man, their eyes were as big as saucers. There's nothing like this in the United States.
Well, they're not mugs. They're really gifted motorcycle riders. Matt Sadowski's he's 18 years old. He finished second in the World Championship mini bike champ, so he's obviously got great bike control.
So there is the Australian Gareth Jones sitting in second place, but I don't think anyone's got anything for Craig Sheriffs today. Pav, he's just disappeared.
Yeah, he's certainly got that chin firmly placed on the tank, and he's a man focused. He's done a whole season on the superbike last year, and he's becoming confident, and he's a fabulous street racer.
Well, we're on the last lap as we watch Gareth Jones head through the Robert Holden Memorial. Andrew Stroud getting a little bit closer, but I think he's going to run out of racetrack here. That's the battle for second and third. Meantime, over the finish line comes a wheel-standing Craig Sheriffs on the Suzuki. He gets the win from Australia's Gareth Jones on the Yamaha. Third place will be Andrew Stroud on another Suzuki, and in fourth, the first of the Kawasaki's, is Derek McAdam. In fifth place, it's Hayden Fitzgerald on the Honda.
I didn't really think I'd have too much of a strong run on the 1000 round here for the first time, but it seems to be going all right so far, so if we can carry on like that, it'll be good.
Tell us quickly a little bit about the rig, because it's a bit special, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Well, as I don't know if you can see it, but it's a late 2006 LCR, running a reasonably large horsepower G6R 1000. As I say, set up by Tim Reeves, his camp overseas, so sort of can't really get much better. So the two lemons are now us. We've got to sort of come to terms with the bike now.
Well, they had problems, as you'll have a look on the start here. That's Bron and Bilby down the inside. They hit the curb, and then they get involved with Tim and Bert Wallen in the first turn of the first lap of the sidecars. Looks a lot worse than it is. Here is the onboard shot. You're on board with the Wallen brothers here. And really, they were the innocent party.
And had a sterling start. Unfortunately got tagged into turn one, which has created a whole lot of grief for a few other teams as well. My deeper thoughts are obviously to my swinger, who is in the ammo bay at the moment, and also for the Holden brothers, because they got involved with it as well. So, it's wrecked a few people's days, so here's hoping we can get back on track and get out for race 2.
Well, this is the Sidecar feature event. Remember, there'll be no Wallen brothers at all. But the good news is that rig number 77, Steve Braun and Charlie Bilby, have effected repairs, and they are out there, albeit at the back of the grid at the moment. Number 4, it is out in the front. Stu Prentice and Dion Whedon. So there's been a few changes in personnel in the off-season, Pav. A couple of the combinations have changed, a new couple of bikes out there, and really the sidecars have ramped up over the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, look, last year there was overwhelm of entries, and the organisers decided that they're only going to run pretty much the modern chairs this year. So the classic ones will have to run at things like the Pukekohe Festival. There's just too great a speed difference, Phil.
That's sort of taken away one of the crowd pleasers, the boys in the old Triumph. I mean, the crowd love that. But, hey, they'll like this sort of stuff too, because really putting on a show there. Stu Prentice and Dion Whedon getting very sideways. But the rig to beat at Wanganui, and has been for the last couple of seasons, is the Ssangyong rig in second place. Make that first place as they go across the stripe for the first of the 8 laps here.
The number 4 chair looks really unstable compared to that leading chair, doesn't it? You can see the side wheel flying up in the air. It must be 600 millimetres off the ground.
Well, out in the front now, it's Stacey Seller and Leighton Manel. Now, Leighton now owns the rig. Stacey tells me that this will be his last race. He'll retire after competing a fine day here at Wanganui, and Leighton will take over the driving. He's got to find a swinger. So that's just one of the rigs that have sort of made this increase. Of course, we've got Steve Braun and Charlie Bilby in the ex-World Championship rig from the UK. So these guys, the New Zealand guys have had to step up. The Lawrence brothers have done that, but unfortunately they haven't got their rig of choice out here today. There they are there, Chris and Richie Lawrence from Auckland on the Red Baron Motorcycles Yamaha. That's their new rig. They were going to run what they call their short bike, but they had problems in pre-season testing, and they've gone to the new rig, which isn't completely sorted. Well, you got to give them A for effort. They're trying. There's no doubt about that. Adam Unsworth.
Maybe I should offer my services to sit on the side. That'll keep the wheel down.
Well, as you well know, Pav, I had a bit of a go on one of these things last season with the Lawrence brothers on your screen at the moment. And I tell you what, you don't only have to be a gymnast to be the swinger, but you have to have the power of a weightlifter. I mean, it is so hard, and especially around here, Wanganui is so unforgiving. You've got white lines, you've got railway lines, you've got curbs, walls in places. I take my hat off to these guys. They work so hard.
So do I, Phil. I could not believe how physically demanding it is to be a swinger in one of these things. These guys are athletes.
Oh, look, no question about it at all. Well, you get a look there at the 77 rig. That's the LCR Suzuki, the World Championship rig of Steve Braun and Charlie Bilby. Great to see them back out there. This is the battle at the front of the field, though. Now it's number 12, Adam Unsworth and Vince Stewart, battling with the Lawrence brothers, and also with Stu Prentice there on the number 4 with Dion Whedon.
The sidecar teams really have stepped up, Phil. But these LCRs, you're not getting a lot of change out of $100,000 for a second-hand one.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess that's it's the way it has to be. If you want to go bigger and faster and better, I suppose it's going to cost a little bit more money. You certainly see that in this rig. This is Chris and Richie Lawrence from Auckland on their new rig. They'll be using this in the Road Racing Championship. They had decided to use their older rig here at Wanganui, but it didn't pan out for them. 12 just up ahead of them, Adam Unsworth and Vince Stewart. That's the battle for second and third at the moment. Out in the front, remember, it is Stacey Seller and Leighton Manel in the Ssangyong rig. Look at this, close stuff in the sidecars. We mentioned it before, Pav, Wanganui being mostly right-hand corners, it's very hard to pass on one of these rigs.
Yeah, it sure is, and that can sometimes turn into some pretty aggressive passing, and these guys have just got to stay cool. We saw a bit of carnage in one of the earlier races too.
So there is the race leaders, Stacey Seller from Australia, Leighton Manel from Wanganui. Now, Leighton's doing double duty this weekend because he'll drive a jet sprint tomorrow. So he's got to make sure he gets here unscathed. And he owns that rig now, remember.
Good to see Ssangyong still involved too, Phil. They've been a great sponsor over the years.
Well, that's right. They've certainly helped out here at Wanganui in all motorcycling forms in New Zealand. Russell Burling and his team putting his money where his mouth is. There is the gap back to second place, and it's still rig number 12, but they haven't got it all their own way now, because coming hard are the Lawrence brothers, but 12 holds on to it. Adam Unsworth doing the driving.
These things have been around here in 54 seconds flat. That's really fast. I mean, you know, they're carrying two people. They've still got the same engine. They've got a bike engine, and they're really only like 5 seconds off a top superbike time.
Well, 55 and change is what Stacey Seller and Leighton Manel are going around with at the moment, as we have a look at this enthralling battle for second and third. And I get a feeling, Pav, that the lap traffic's going to play a part in this one as well. Just saw a glimpse of one of the slower rigs up ahead, and that was rig number 88, Craig Bryan, and the TAP Motorcycle Dismantlers rig.
Well, the fields have been limited too, Phil. Remember, the post-classics and classics are out of this field now. That's pretty much all the modern fast ones.
Oh, and Unsworth just getting picked there as they go over the railway line and up through Suzuki into the S's, down past the cemetery. They'll come now. So the Lawrence brothers move through into second place. Adam Unsworth and Vince Stewart go back into third. Race leader is still Stacey Seller and Leighton Manel, and they've got a huge advantage, and there they are now.
It's great too. The Lawrence boys have been right in behind the Sidecar fraternity, and they've had a great push this year on safety on side chairs. You know, we've looked at the engineering of these machines, and there's been a real improvement.
Oh, Chris Costello just about draping the flag over the helmet of Stacey Seller as they get the 1 to go sign. Lawrence is starting to close them down. OK, the camera foreshortens the distance behind them, but these guys have got a bit of a race on their hands now. Nothing in it as they come out onto Taupo Quay. Oh, I wonder if Stacey Seller's got a problem, because look at the way the Aucklanders are shutting them down. Are they going to go around the outside? They do. Oh, Seller must have a problem, Pav.
Yeah, that was too easy.
You don't pass that man that easily.
That was way too easy.
Heading up past the cemetery they go now, and it is Chris and Richie Lawrence in their second choice rig. They didn't expect this, I'm sure of it. Then it's Seller and Leighton Manel. Making a late charge there is Steve Braun and Charlie Bilby. Right in behind them, it's rig number 51. That's Tony Campbell and Lance Hart.
He's off. He's fallen off. The passenger's gone.
Leighton Manel's gone. Oh, and Seller doesn't know about it, and he can't turn the left-hander and slams into the hay bales. Meantime, the Lawrence brothers win an incident-packed sidecar race here. The Annandon Lodge Hotel bring it to you. Here it is on the replay. There goes Leighton Manel. He's hit the ejector button. And poor old Stacey Seller, I bet he doesn't know at this stage that he hasn't got his swinger. That compromises the handling of the rig. He tries to turn left, and it goes straight ahead into the Pirelli banners, and thankfully into the hay bales. So a fortuitous win maybe for Chris and Richie Lawrence. Adam Unsworth and Vince Stewart go through in second place. Then it's 4NZ, Stu Prentice and Dion Whedon. And in fourth place, number 242, one of the veterans, John Blameyers and Brent Sproul.
I was in third place going on to the last lap, and I got into second place, and I could see the leader was having problems. I knew there was a problem with the bike, or the passenger couldn't hold on, and I managed to get him halfway around the lap, and yeah, I understand he went into the bales without a passenger at the end. So.
Welcome back to the Sanyong Cemetery Circuit here at Wanganui. The crowd getting into it. They've seen some enthralling racing, and there's plenty more to come. This is heat number 2 of the Robert Holden Memorial. Once again, a good start down the inside there for Derek McAdam, but it's going to be Craig Sheriff. This time he's got company though. Pav Stroud moves up into second place. Hayden Fitzgerald through in third.
I think Gus Stroud is going to be going a lot better this time. He's had time to adjust, make some adjustments on the 750. Remember, that was the first time he'd ridden that bike, so he's going to be better.
Well, he's going to have to be if he wants to keep Craig Sheriff's inside if we go by the last result in Heat 1 of the Robert Holden Memorial, because he has been the dominant rider. We saw that 2 years ago when he rode a Hot Rod 600cc machine. Now he's on the 1000cc superbike. Andrew Stroud chasing him down, or trying to, on the 750cc Suzuki. Hayden Fitzgerald's got a much better start, Pav. That's him third in the Castrol Honda. And then it's that young Aussie again, Gareth Jones.
Well, I know that Hayden and the team have been doing a lot of work to smooth out the action of the clutch, because he really struggled from the start on the mighty Honda at the Champs last year. So I think what they've done has obviously worked.
Look at the two styles differences here. The compact Craig Sheriff's and the gangly Andrew Stroud all over the machine, dragging his knees in the gutter as he tries to make through the Bridgestone turn and out onto Taupo Quay.
Oh, he's 6'2".
Well over 6'2", that's right, he's a big guy. Sheriff's leads it, Stroud in second place. Hayden Fitzgerald holds on to third. Then it is Gareth Jones, and then it'd be Derek McAdam. So all of the 4 major Japanese brands represented here.
Just shows you how good these bikes are, Phil. I mean, they basically built this bike this morning. They were swapping over the bodywork from the Superbike because it's interchangeable. And there he is. He's in second place on basically a standard road bike. How good is that?
Well, it's good when you consider the speeds they're going around this 1.6 kilometre circuit. And once again, we saw that last year, Pep. Craig Sheriff gets so close to the hay bales as he comes off the bridge.
That frightens me, actually. I saw him rub his elbow on the hay bales a few times, and, you know, you're only a centimetre or two away from disaster.
Bike number 61, the Castrol Honda. This is Hayden Fitzgerald, a son of a famous father in Terry. And Hayden's been up in the UK once again in the New Zealand off-season, plying his trade up on the streets and the road circuits up there. Told me he went to the Ulster Grand Prix. It was the most spectacular thing he'd ever done on two wheels.
This is just such a war. We've got Suzuki, Honda, Yamaha, Kawasaki. We've got Pirelli, Dunlop. You know, there's so many combinations to get the perfect lap around here.
Well, Hayden Fitzgerald leading the first of the young Americans, and that's Dave Sadowski. Behind them, Derek Adams from Wellington. The AFC Motorcycles Kawasaki, and behind him the young Aussie hotshot, and that's Gareth Jones. But there's nothing in it here. This is the battle for 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th.
I'd like to see young Dave Sadowski ride the Super Motard. You know, in 2004 he was the USA 450 champion, so imagine how good he'd be around here on a Super Motard even.
Well, that's right. We'll show you the Super Motards very shortly, but at the moment we're concentrating on Heat 2 of the Robert Holden Memorial. And for those that don't know, Robert Holden, one of the legends, one of the icons of the sport in New Zealand, tragically taken from us at the Isle of Man. But he was probably, well, he is the winningest rider ever here in the history of the cemetery circuit. And you remember, Pav, certainly better than most, in the day, he would ride just about every class of motorcycle available.
I raced them on just about everything imaginable, and he was a fierce competitor. Never, ever, ever gave up.
Well, talk about fierce. Look at this, young Gareth Jones trying to work over Derek McAdam as they come up over the Vesvra Breaks Bridge. Down the front straight they come once again. Sheriffs leads it. Stroud in second place, then it's Fitzgerald, then it's Sadowski, then it is Derek McAdam, and then it is Gareth Jones, and then there's daylight back to the next one. And I got a feeling that it may be just number 37, young Jay Lawrence. Will have a look and pick them up. Oh, there's a change there. McAdam goes a little bit wide, and I think that's the opening that Jones was looking for. As we go back to the man in third, that's Hayden Fitzgerald.
He looks really smooth, doesn't he, Fitzgerald on that Honda? He's just right in the groove at the moment and looking good.
Well, he's got a couple of very fast Yamahas on his tail now, led by David Sadowski Jr. I mentioned the fact that David Sr. had ridden here. Well, he's not only ridden here, but he's also been involved in the famous Marlborough series that stopped off here at Wanganui. He's also been involved with Pat Hennon and his brother Chip.
Brian Bernard, you've just got to take your hat off to him. You know, he's just done such a great job of running this team. Yamaha have got to be happy.
Well, they're happy at the moment. They'd like to be a couple of more spots up the field, but they're doing pretty good. They're packing out the midfield, if you like. Derek McAdam just tailing off a little bit at the back there on the ZX10 Kawasaki. Remember, his first time on a superbike here at Wanganui, and as you've heard from Paul Pavlet, it's vastly different to the 600. So much more power, that short wheelbase, lots of wheelies, maybe not getting out of third gear.
You've got to push down on your feet on the foot pegs a lot harder, Phil, to change directions with them as well. You know, they're not that much heavier, but there's so much more powerful, that torque, the acceleration, they're tiring, and I think McAdam's doing a fine job.
This guy's doing a fine job. This is Fielding's Craig Sheriff, past 600 sports production champion, past Battle of the Streets champion. And talking about Battle of the Streets, we should probably mention the fact that there is no Battle of the Streets competition. Each of the street races, the infamous street races in New Zealand here at Wanganui and Pyra, will stand alone. We're on the last lap. Craig Sheriff's on his way to another victory here in the Robert Holden Memorial. Here's the man in second place, but now Gareth Jones has shuffled his way out of the pack, and he's right on the back of Andrew Stroud. There is Jay Lawrence on the Kawasaki. Good debut for him here at the cemetery circuit. Meantime, Craig Sheriff's picking his way through the lap traffic, heading down past the dog pound up over the bridge, and he'll see the checkered flag from Chris Costello. 56 puts another win in the book, and that is a good points lead in the Robert Holden Memorial for Craig Sheriff's. Second place will go to multiple champion of New Zealand Andrew Stroud, and in third place it's young Australian Gareth Jones on the Bernard Yamaha.
We were expecting to see Andrew Stroud up there with you this time.
Yeah, no, I was quite surprised myself, actually. I had a look over my shoulder sort of once a lap for about 3 laps, and he was right there. So, yeah, I just put my head down and pressed on and didn't look for a couple of laps, and then I looked back and he was gone. So, sort of thought, I'll just keep going at that speed and should be right.
Well, plenty of action in the Super Motard pits, certainly for the Australians. Josh McFarlane back for a second crack at Wanganui. Not too much luck for him last year.
It'll be a lot harder than last year. Everyone's learnt the track layout. They know what it's about. I'm sure most of the New Zealand guys have been riding over here now, so yeah, I think it'll be really tough today.
Josh bringing two bikes, riding the S1 and the S2. So is New Zealand's major hope, and this is Toby Summers. I guess the biggest factor here, because it's a short lap, is probably a good start.
Oh, for sure, yeah, a good start. What they've done with the dirt section this year, they put a berm on the inside and outside, so that enables two passing lines. So that's going to help. If you make a bad start, there's always opportunity to come past somewhere.
So you heard Toby Summers say they have rejigged the dirt section here at Wanganui. This is the feature race. Watch for the Australian. Will he lead them into the first turn? No, I think it'll be Mitch Rowe. Oh, and Toby Summers has gone wide. Well, he's just made a real rod for his back there, Pav. He's got to come through the whole field. And there he is rejoining on Repco turn. Meantime, Mitch Rowe slots back into second place. It is Josh McFarlane and Jaden Carrick right up there. Well, McFarlane needs some luck. I said it in the introduction. He didn't have luck here at Wanganui. He crashed a couple of times in the dirt section last year. He came over here as the big hotshot, came back with his tail between his legs, and it's been a little bit the same this time round as well.
Well, it wasn't for effort though, Phil. Like, he rode the wheels off that bike. He did have a mechanical failure, if you remember. I think the rear sprocket might have given up the ghost last year, but he's a gifted rider. Now there's two 55s too. 55 MC's Josh McFarlane and 55C is Jaden Carrick.
And at the moment, McFarlane in the front and Carrick there, just see him in the shot in third place. So it could get a bit confusing, but what you got to remember is that McFarlane, the Australian, is on an Aprilia, and 55 Carrick is on a Honda.
Toby Summers will have steam coming out of his helmet. He's been dominant all day, riding the wheels off that Yamaha, and muffed it up in the first corner. So let's see if he can carve his way through the field.
We just saw Duncan Hart go through there, number 86, and we're looking for 777 Toby Summers. McFarlane has a look behind. There is Jaden Carrick putting the pass on Mitch Rowe.
I just love the way McFarlane backs that Aprilia into the corner. It's just incredible. Really talented guy.
I've got my eyes peeled out for 777, and there he is, Toby Summers. So he's already cut his way through probably the best part of 6 or 7 competitors, and you talk about McFarlane backing into the turns. Well, if you mention it, I think he's probably riding with his heart and not his head here, but he is on a mission. 777 Toby Summers, look at the way he starts to round these guys up.
He's got to keep a clear head though, Phil, because he's got to pass about 20 guys, and that's going to be a handful of a task.
Well, it's going to be easy in the early going, Pav, as you well know, but once he gets up into that top 10, he's really going to have to work hard.
Yep, it's going to be the sharp ends the problem, isn't it?
This is the Go Fast Film sponsored Toby Summers. He was dominant in the earlier racing here at Wanganui. This is the feature race for the Super Motards. Onto the dirt section they come for the second time.
He's been over to Aussie, Phil, a few times this year as well, and had a crack at it, and he's really honing his skills. I love watching him ride. He's a man on a mission.
And he told me he learnt a lot. He said the professionalism is a level above us here in New Zealand, but that's just the fact that they've been at it a little bit longer than we have.
This is a really, really cheap way to go motor racing too. You know, like you can buy a second-hand motocross bike for 6 or 7 grand and get out there and have a crack at this.
So you're watching 777 Toby Summers trying to cut his way through this field. He made a mistake at turn 1. The Repco corner overshot it. And now he is on a bit of a mission, a come-from-behind mission, if you like.
He's a man on a mission, all right. Look at that back wheel cranked in, puts the power on full. These things have got about 55 horsepower, so they're relatively easy to ride.
He's just coming up onto Nick Payne on the Jolette Motorcycles Honda CR450. A lot of these bikes, of course, ex-motocross machines. A couple of purpose-built Super Motard bikes out there. Of course, Josh McFarlane riding one of them, the factory Aprilia. But most of these are from a motocross background. The YZ Yamaha there of Toby Summers. In fact, he tells me, oh, somebody just having a bit of a mid-corner correction there. That was bike number 70 by the look of it. And, well, Rennie Johnson just getting out of the way of a fast-moving Toby Summers. Out onto Taupo Key he goes. He's starting to get up into the top 15 now, so it's been a brilliant performance.
It has. As you can see, his body language is really gassing that bike on hard, and he's taking no prisoners on the way through.
Like all the top runners in the Super Motards, as he makes the second tabletop on the dirt section. Oh, and that's number 911 going down. That's Simon Dibben on the Q and Honda CR450.
Folks at home will be going, well, how do you fall off on an easy section like that? These guys aren't on knobblies, they're on groove slick. So, they've got very, very little traction on that off-road section.
But you just love the exaggerated body English of Toby Summers. You watch when he cracks the throttle on, his whole elbow really moves.
It's a man on a mission.
777 Toby Summers, he's riding two classes here at Wanganui today, S1 and S2. The S2 are the 450cc machines, S1 are 450 and above. This is number 29. Now, this is Glenn Hayden. Now, he currently is in third place on the TM SMX 660. That's an Italian-based machine. So he's doing a good job. Up ahead of them, it's Josh McFarlane, of course, and Hayden Carrick. We concentrate on this come-from-behind effort as Toby Summers makes his way up and over the Vesra Bridge. Next target will be Duncan Hart. There he is, bike number 86, just ahead of him.
Look at all the black lines on the TARS there where they've been backing them into. It looks awesome.
There is the race leader. This is Josh McFarlane. And there is Mitch Rowe. Now, Mitch Rowe was, one of the contenders, one of the sensations of Super Motard this season. He's been racing some of the lesser meetings, the Greymouth Street races, the Burt Munro Challenge, and he hasn't been beaten, but it looks like mechanical problems might have slowed him down here. Jaden Carrick sits in second place on the Honda. There he is, out onto the asphalt section again. People are probably asking why the big, long asphalt section before we go back onto the circuit proper. Well, that's to clean the tyres off the bike so they don't drag the dirt on to the cemetery circuit, and that of course upsets the handling and the racing for the strictly road racing machine. So everyone is catered for here at Wanganui, Pav.
Well, the last thing you want to do is pitch your superbike into a right-hand corner and find dirt and dust all over the track at 90 mile an hour. That won't go down well.
777 Toby Summers makes the long straightaway back onto the cemetery circuit proper, up the Steve Taylor Straight. He'll come now past the famous Head Cemetery, where the circuit gets its name. Once again, have a look at that exaggerated body language there for Toby Summers. He is riding at 110%. This is going to be a sensation if he can get up into the money here, Pav. This has been a ride of the day so far in the Super Motards.
Just so frustrated for him because I would have loved to have seen him duke it out with Joshua McFarlane. Look at the lap times. They're pretty even too. They're around that 28.8, 29 flat. So they're right on the lap record pace.
Well, it's going to get a little bit harder now as Josh McFarlane comes onto the dirt section again, about to put a lap on Duncan Hart there, bike number 86. But I just saw Scott Moyer go through the shot previously, number 66, a very accomplished motocross rider, and he'd be in about 4th or 5th place now. So Toby Summers is getting up into the top 10. But now it gets hard.
It does. Look at it. Compounded this morning. You can see the water lying there in puddles. It absolutely bucketed down in practice this morning. So, these guys would have been so happy that it dried out.
Well, Steve Booth proving a bit of a challenge there for Josh McFarlane. Booth, of course, in danger of being lapped. We're on to the last lap of the Super Motard feature, brought to you by Lindsay Tate and Associates. You're watching the race leader, number 55, Josh McFarlane. In second place, it's Hayden Carrick. In third place, it's number 29, and that is Glenn Hayden. But this man is finally having some luck here at Wanganui. Second time here to the streets of the cemetery circuit. Didn't come away a happy customer last year. Had all sorts of mechanical issues and a couple of crashes. This time he's going to put the icing on the cake with the feature win here. Bike number 55. He's a professional Super Motard racer in Australia on the factory Aprilia, the V-twin. Checkered flag will come out for Josh McFarlane, recently a father, recently married, so it's all happened this year for him, and Josh McFarlane picks up the cemetery circuit feature for the Super Motards. Second place will be Jaden Carrick on the Honda, and in third place it's number 29, Glenn Hayden. Fourth place, what a ride for Toby Summers.
In the last race, the one that counted, it worked out well. It was smooth, it was faultless. Bit of traffic, but everyone had it. I've actually won a race in New Zealand now. I've wanted to do it all my life, so.
Welcome back to the famous cemetery circuit for one race to come, and it's the big one. This is the Robert Holden Memorial Feature Race, and there is dollars on the line here, Pav. Every lap lead is $100, and into the front through the Repco turn is Andrew Stroud. Craig Shuris back in second place. Big surprise in the break between the second heat of the Robert Holden and this race. Andrew Stroud has elected to ride his superbike.
Yeah, I'm amazed at that. I cannot believe that he had changed bikes partway through the meeting. That's a really, really brave thing to do.
I mean, you mentioned earlier maybe it was the sensible thing to do to ride the 750 here in the tight confines of the cemetery circuit. Well, he's gone one better. He's on the superbike now. Perhaps he thought that maybe if he's got the same sort of bike as Craig Sheriff's, he can stay with him. It's Sheriff sitting in second place, Jones in third.
Yeah, but you're talking hundreds and millions of seconds, the difference. You know, and he's dialed into that 750. To swap over to that 1,000 is a really big call.
Well, whatever the game plan was, it hasn't worked, because as they complete the first lap, $100 in the back pocket of the Alpine Stars leathers for Craig Sheriff's on the Haldane motorcycle, Suzuki 1000. Andrew Stroud in second place, also 1000cc mounted. Then it's Gareth Jones, he's on a 600, and then it's young Dave Sadowski again, doing a fantastic job there at his first visit to Wanganui, sitting in fourth place. Look at this guy, he's already started to pull away, Pav.
He has, and look in the previous race, in the second to last lap, he did a 49.9.
Oh, and you don't do that to Andrew Stroud. Not when you're a youngster and you've never been here before, but Gareth Jones, he's got no reason to believe the reputation, into second place now.
He's just not used to that bike at the moment. I mean, that sounds silly. He's ridden it for a couple of seasons, but to jump straight back on it at that level, it's too hard, even for Andrew.
So Andrew Stroud back into third place. Once again, we see Craig Sheriff get oh so close to the hay bales as he comes down the DML Builders front straight here at Wanganui. Jones into Repco, hard on the brakes. Look at the way the bike twitches round. Oh, and Sheriff has gone wide. Oh, we saw Toby Summers do it in the Super Motard feature, and now Craig Sheriff's done it. Now can he do the same thing? He's not going to rejoin at the back of the field, but I tell you what, these guys aren't going slow, Pav.
They're not going slow. They're not on lap record pace, though. They're about a second off it. Maybe it's just too windy.
Well, there is Craig Sheriff. He's rejoined in fourth place, so it's cost him 3 spots. McAdam in behind him, 61. Hayden Fitzgerald in there as well.
Oh, McAdam will be going balls out now. He'll be going as hard as he can to get on the tail of that Suzuki, try and get dragged along.
Pav, let's talk about what's happening in the season coming up in New Zealand motorcycling, because we've got the Road Racing Championship. Will that be helping these guys with a good hit out here at Wanganui?
Oh, it's all time on the bike. You know, these Aussie boys that are over here, particularly Gareth Jones, he's ridden the R1 before. In fact, he finished 7th in the Australian Championship. Damon Cutler's decided not to ride the street circuits. He wants to save himself for the closed circuits.
So there is Craig Sheriff, starting to work on Dave Sadowski Jr. from Southern California in the United States of America. Bit of an upcoming hotshot in the AMA circuit over there, American Motorcycling Association. But the man behind him is a hotshot, and he is the crowd favourite here at Wanganui. There's no doubt about it. He owned this circuit 2 years ago on a 600. Now, as Pav told you, he's got another year of experience on the 1000cc machine, and through the Robert Holden turn, he dives down the inside of Sadowski and moves himself into third place.
He was raving to me about how good these brand new Dunlop tyres are as well. There's a special tyre that they've got hold of that runs really low pressures, and he said it's incredible how much traction it's got.
Well, we're a couple of laps into the feature event now, and remember, it's $100 for every lap led, so the big money going to Gareth Jones at the moment. Andrew Stroud in second place, this man in third, but a distant third, you'd have to say. Pav, he's going to have his work cut out for him if he wants to get to the top step. I'm not saying he can't do it, because I know Craig Sheriff well, and he'll be giving it 110%. I know the family's here, all his supporters are here, and that means a lot to him.
Well, he's got a cool head too. Like, he's been a street champion 5 times or so he knows what he's got to do. He's going to get in the groove and really just pick them off one after the other. I'm sure he can do it. Today's been his day. He's just the man. He's on fire.
So there he is in third place, and you just got a glimpse of second, and that is his nemesis on the New Zealand road racing scene, and that's Andrew Stroud, and he's getting a little bit closer now. Meantime, Gareth Jones has got a bit of breathing space between himself and Stroudy. The brother Suzuki, the meat and the sandwich at the moment.
Gareth Jones will be going, crikey, what's happening? I'm leading the race at Wanganui. I've never been here before. How did this happen?
And not just any race, Pav, the feature. The 15-lapper. The marathon, if you like. We've had the sprint, we've had the intro. This is the main course. And this guy, well, a little bit of a mistake in turn number 1. We saw it in the Super Motards with Toby Summers. This man made the same mistake, but boy, oh boy, is he coming now. And you mentioned before, Andrew Stroud, he's changed his bike. Maybe he's not too familiar with that. And Craig Sheriff is just reeling him in.
He sure is. He's making it easy, isn't he? Like, they're doing 50.1 at the moment. It's a good lap time.
Well, down past the dog pound, heading up for the bridge, and Stroud has a look over, and I think he let him go.
He did. Like, he just didn't put up a fight at all then. I think he's settling in, and he's going to be happy with third place.
So Sheriff's up into second now. Andrew Stroud back into third place. I guess he's thinking about the future. He's got a full season on the Superbike in the Castrol New Zealand Road Racing Championships upcoming January, February, March. So this really just the appetizer. This guy, he's only thinking of one thing, and that's get up to the Aussie, put the pressure on him, and maybe get by him.
Well, boy, we've got some serious riders. We've got Robbie Bugton back over. As I said, we've got Cudlin over. We've got these American boys. It's just going to be the best road race series this year we've ever probably had. So get along. Check it out on the website, www.mnz.co. Check out all the dates and come along and watch it.
Well, this young man surprised me as well. This is Matt Sadowski. This is David's brother. And right in behind him, another bloke that surprised me, Jay Lawrence, making his debut here at Wanganui. And behind Jay, it is Neil Martin.
Hey, these Sadowski boys, Phil, they're really talented kids. I mean, they were first and second in 2005 in the World Minibike Championship. You know, that's not an easy task.
Now there's Andrew Stroud, and just looking at the body language, I think he might have, as you mentioned, Pav, settled for third place here. Craig Sheriff hasn't settled for anything. He's hot on the tail of the Australian. And there he is, Gareth Jones, and there is Craig Sheriff's, and all the lap riders just holding their line, getting out of the way of the faster guys as the laps wind down here at the Robert Holden Memorial feature. Craig Sheriff's, can he chase down the young Australian? What about Brian Bernard? I know we've mentioned it before, a sensation in his racing days around the circuit here at Wanganui, but now what a manager. Last year he did it with Chris Seaton and Scott Charlton. This year he's got Gareth Jones and another passel of quick Aussies coming. And here comes Craig Sheriff's. They're side by side as Sheriff's goes into the front, splits Jones with a lap rider. Jones isn't going to give it up without a fight. Look at the way the bike twitches and turns as they come down the short chute into the Taupo Key. Who's got the grunt? Will it be the 1000cc Suzuki? Oh, Jones just about comes off the bike. Unbelievable.
There's a big pothole there and it's easy to wind the throttle on, and it digs in and then it just launches you out of the seat. You've got to be really careful on that corner.
Through the Hookers turn up past Suzuki, going by the cemetery circuit here. Are the lap riders going to play a part in this one? 41 does a sensible thing and just moves over.
That's great riding. I can't tell you how fast they're going at the moment. They're absolutely committed. Winding those throttles on, second gear, probably a bit of power slide. The tyres are trying to break traction.
So 56 on your screen. He made a mistake at the first turn. He's come across the line here in first place. Gareth Jones certainly not going to give it up with a fight. No sign of the white flag, so plenty of laps to go yet here at Wanganui, Pav. And look at Jones. He's all over the bike. A little bit of desperation creeping in. He's been so smooth all afternoon. But now, well, he's riding for his reputation here.
Well, this is good too. He's learning all the time. He's following a master, a 5-time street champion. So he's in a good spot.
Sheriff's just business as usual on the Suzuki New Zealand 1000cc machine Alpine Stars Haldane Motorcycles sponsored bike. Behind him, it's the Pirelli Shod Yamaha Brian Bernard Racing Australian Gareth Jones. It's the Trans-Tasman Battle. This will get the big crowd fizzed up. They've enjoyed some amazing racing in the sunshine of Wanganui. They've had the odd beer or two. They're in fine voice.
Well, you know too, Sheriff is not going to crack under the pressure. He's so calm.
White flag, one to go for Craig Sheriffs, and he's going to make history here, Pav. He's going to clean sweep the Robert Holden Memorial. He won Heat 1, he won Heat 2, and well, I don't want to put the jinx on him, but he's only got about 3/4 of a mile, maybe a kilometre, maybe a bit more, and he'll win Heat 3 as well.
Cool as a cucumber. He's inching away too. He's not slowing down at all. He took a quick peep over his shoulder. He knows he's got this one in the bag. He'll never get caught from there.
And I guess too, he's sending a message that I'm going to be tough to beat on 1000 this year in the Road Racing Championship.
Oh, you can bet on that.
Through Robert Holden for the last time, heading up into the Kawasaki curves now. Bike number 56, the Suzuki of Craig Sheriffs. Then it's G, Gareth Jones on the Bernard Yamaha, and it's Daylight for third, but I can tell you it's young Dave Sadowski still back in third place, but all the glory to this man. Down the little small downhill, across the line he goes. The big wheelie for Craig Sheriffs. You can hear the crowd. A clean sweep in the Robert Holden. Craig Sheriffs wins the feature event here at Wanganui. Second place is Gareth Jones. Third is Sadowski, and a great ride from Derek McAdam for fourth on the Kawasaki.
At the end of the first straight, you seemed to run out of brakes? Or?
No, I was just pushing my braking markers further and further and ended up out-braking myself completely.
Right.
I may have been able to get around the corner, but I wasn't 100%, and if you don't make it, you crash into hay bales and fences and stuff, so...
I saw Craig run off in turn one, and I thought, oh, here we go, this is a chance, you know. So I know that it'd be a long way to catch back up again, and he'd got a blinding start and taken off, but... Yeah, I was happy with what we did and led for, I think, 5 laps there. And
that's a cool $500 as well, you know.
Oh, that's very true. You know, I thought about that while I was out there, actually. And I thought, no, stop thinking about this. Get back to the riding, you know. But it's the riding that was the best part of the day. It was so much fun to ride this circuit. And it was an absolute pleasure to be here.